So boom, we live.
Good morning, Facebook friends. This is the Straight Talk Morning Show. My name is Andre Hill, and my co-host and engineer, Andre Hill Jr.
And engineer. Grand Rising family, Grand Rising.
Yeah, we just had a very unusual experience. The computer decided to update itself just 5 minutes before the show. Isn't that a coincidence?
Yeah. Now, on another note, and it had to dawn on me because I got into suspicion mode as well, along with Pops. I had to think about it for a second. I said it could have been worse because it could have updated while we were in the middle of the show. That would have been real ugly, but it's all good. So, like I said, we had some technical difficulties real quick, fam, but we straightened them out, and now we're coming to you live and clear this morning.
All right, so as usual, always the night before on Facebook, I post the topics for today, and the topics I posted, very interesting topics. It's good afternoons as it goes. Good afternoon, Facebook friends. Tomorrow morning at our new time of 11 a.m. Hey, son, I meant to ask you.
What's up?
Do you feel you're going to be doing a better show now at 11 a.m. versus 9?
I think so, man. We ain't got to get up 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning, drive to a studio. So, it's just, it just gives you more time to get comfortable and get into your mode. And also it gives all of our supporters, thank you very much, guys. It gives all of our supporters time to wake up on a Saturday morning and tune in. Some of them they got to set their alarm clock to listen to the 9 o'clock show. They don't even be up
and get over that hangover from Friday night. Huh?
I'm trying to tell you.
All right. Okay, so this is our new hour, 11 a.m. So call up all your friends, tell them to tune in. We are improving. I don't know if you noticed, but our studio is improving. We got sound barriers, and we got the dragon. I was born in the year of the dragon.
Yeah, that's a good
don't trip out. Dragon don't mean that I'm the devil. It means that strength. That's the protector of humanity. In Asia, the dragon is reverenced because they know people born in the year of the dragon are self-sacrificial. And they're willing to protect the young, the children, the women, the family, the concepts of truth. So that's what the dragon is all about. So if you were born in 1940, 1952, 1964, 1976, 1988, you were born in the year of the dragon. And if you're trying to find your purpose, you need to hook up with us because we know you are a warrior, you're a revolutionist, and especially in these crazy times that we're in right now, I know you're trying to find your purpose. Come hook up with UPA, Urban Progress Alliance. Go to our website at upall.com. Sign up and say, look, I'm trying to find my purpose. I know I'm a dragon. Kamala Harris, did I mess that woman's name up? Kamala Harris. She's a dragon. She's also a Libra dragon like myself. Also, Vladimir Putin is a Libra dragon. So it has some significance. It has some power. It doesn't mean that you're better than the rest of the people. It means that you have a particular mission in life to serve all the rest of the people on the planet. And through your tenacity and your aggressive nature, you were aligned to be able to do those things. So that's what it means with the dragon. Also, here's what I posted. Okay, so we're going to talk about, we're going to confront the reality of our situation here in the U.S. And I interviewed a young Caucasian woman about her political beliefs. So today I'm going to reveal what she said to me. She was born in the 90s. And, and what their take on the most recent election. She's going to explain that all to me. You're going to be surprised what she said. I was in shock. Well, not real shock, but I was in shock. Also, me and my son watched this video of this young man, Caucasian man, that went out and interviewed a lot of the Trump supporters. And, man, we're going to talk about that because some of the things, the questions that he was asking and their responses, man, it was scary. And so you know, I lived in D.C. I understand what national security is all about. We got to address this thing because all the other countries or adversaries know that we are a divided nation, and when you're divided, you can be easily conquered. And so this is how the national security has been being compromised because of that scenario. Also, let's see, what else did I have on here? And I did say too, into some of those responses, you know, I said that some of the religious institutions would need to take blame for their ignorance. All right. And because most humans just don't understand the consequences of their actions. So we're going to expand on those topics today. And let's let it roll. You have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah. So, you know, I wanted to co-sign on everything he just said, but mind you guys, so, you know, me playing engineer and playing co-host at the same time, what I'm doing is I'm watching the quality of this live stream. What I am noticing, this is a little bit aside from the topics here, Pop. What I'm noticing is there is, you know, a little bit of freezing and whatnot. Listen, guys, everybody who's watching, thank you very much for watching, but we're going to be working these kinks out from time to time, trying to figure out what this is, why we're lagging here. But either way, in the comment section, you know, give us some feedback. Tell us, you know, if we're lagging, if any audio is going in and out. Let us know those things so we can make adjustments, so I can do some diagnostics and whatnot, and try to figure out what it is so we can bring the quality back to par. But all right, so that's all. But those are some good topics, though. I can't wait to get into them.
So you don't think that when the computers decide to update in a few minutes that has something to do with the lag?
I think. I mean, like, now mind you, you know.
Shit.
You know. So in other words, somebody messing with our equipment right about now. Because last week it wasn't. You know, we didn't go through all of this.
All right, so you know.
Stop it.
Once again, to people that tune in to our show, people wonder why. Okay, so Andre Hill, you know, you and your son, you know, why you guys are doing this? Why are you broadcasting on Facebook, putting this knowledge out there? And I want to qualify my personality. I gave you a little insight when I talked about the dragon, but my motivation has nothing to do with wanting to be rich. I'm really not inspiring to run for political office, even though I asked a young Caucasian girl, you know, that if I ran for office with a particular platform, you know, would she vote for me? I'm going to talk about that when we get to that subject. You know, this is my purpose. I've had a good life on this planet. I've had luxury cars, a nice house, you know, and all of those things, the ability to travel in different parts of the world. And, you know, I came to a conclusion, and especially after I had certain spiritual encounters, unusual spiritual encounters, that, you know, you got to have a reason, a purpose for living. And so, you know, my whole purpose is to help elevate the human consciousness. I remember posting the other day on a sister that placed something on Facebook, and I explained to her, she asked about what are your superpowers. And my superpower is the ability to access the ultimate power from the Supreme Being. Because as an individual, I'm frail, I'm fragile. You know, my body can be blown up, blown away very easily. But when you relax and you become pure in heart, it opens your portals to receive inspiration and messages from the divine, the Most High, our ancestors, and that empowers you. And some people get jealous of it, or you know, they start to wonder, well, how come you getting this and I don't get this? It's because you have to be pure in heart. You have to open up yourself to want to receive from the Most High, and then you have to learn how to listen to those vibrations, because it speaks very softly. You know,
Indeed.
Inspiration. And you have to learn how to listen to it. And it appears that you have superpower, but it's not your power. It's the Creator. It's the Supreme Being power. And the ability to access it and to receive it appears that it make you appear to have superpower. You understand what I'm saying, man?
Absolutely, man. I agree.
All right. So it's very critical, and also humility. When you people might say, "Hey, you're a genius." Now, no, I'm not a genius. My ability to receive the inspiration from our ancestors, from our guardians, from the Supreme Being, is where that knowledge is a genius. It ain't mine. All I'm doing is just becoming a portal to receive, just like a telephone or a speaker. So that is very important for us to qualify why we're doing this. We also understand that this planet is in jeopardy, and over again I talk about why it's in jeopardy, because this is part of the test, the evolution, the spiritual evolution of this planet. And I'm encouraging people to understand this lifetime that you're living in right now. It's a test, a specific test for you and your ability to operate and make decisions. And if you fail this test, you will come back in the next lifetime having to do it all over again. Now, a lot of my Christian friends are saying, I've heard them say it over and over again that, oh no, you only get one lifetime and after this, that's over. But in the same content, if you go and read the Bible, it talks about everlasting life. So people, how can you get that confused that on one hand you're going to have everlasting life, but this is your only life? No, bodies are just instruments for the exam or the test that you're taking, just like grade school. Some people are in the first grade, some people are in the 12th grade, and they have particular tests. And if you don't pass that test, you have to repeat the grade. And that's the same thing in the universe. The only difference about the universe is it's mandatory that you repeat the grade. If you get into this lifetime and you start hooking and crooking, lying and cheating and thinking you outsmarting people, that karma is going to bring you back. It's guaranteed. So, that's part of the topics that I'm going to talk about, why some of the religious institutions are responsible, especially when I saw some of those people that supported Trump. And not saying, that they, that the political system is going to save us, but your reason for supporting somebody. This man, he could, like he said, I can go shoot somebody and kill somebody right now, and people will still vote for me. So that's a serious situation to have a real negative effect on our planet, and it's a threat to national security.
Sure.
Was that a mouthful?
Yeah, it's all good. You sold it up. You sold it together pretty good, though. That
so I had to qualify a purpose, and I'm gonna tell you, the greatest blessing that I can have as a father is to have a son that buys into or can receive the same thing. So we are different. We have different ideals, but the fact that he's looked at these formulas, and I didn't force it on him. I didn't say you got to be a metaphysical scientist or nothing like that. It just came natural to him. So, I'm blessed with that. So I have to give kudos to my son every now and then.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you.
All right. So, All right. So going to the interview I had with the young Caucasian woman.
Yeah. I wanted to hear about that because, mind you, folks, so he been talking about this interview for like the last week. He ain't tell me none of the details of it. He was just like, we going to talk about it on the show. So I have not heard any of the details of this interview. So I'm about to hear it for the first time. I'm just as eager to hear it as y'all. I'm on the edge of my studio seat right now.
And we are live in BA Studios.
Live in Brenda Allen Studios.
Yeah. And so in the new studio, we have coffee.
Oh, man. We got accommodations. Let me just say it like that. We got accommodations. So shout out to Miss Brenda Allen.
I have a special portion in my coffee, so if I get too loose, don't worry about it.
Yeah, we both partook a little bit this morning. Not too much, but we good enough to get our point across, expressively, So
absolutely.
But yeah, so about this interview with this, you say it's a young Caucasian girl that you talked to.
Young Caucasian girl, right? Right. And so, I had the opportunity to just talk to, how the guardians arrange things, and then they'll whisper to me, ask this young lady what she think about what just went down with the political system. And oddly enough, I was in this venue and we had no interruptions. We were able to exchange this dialogue, you know. And so I said, listen, I said, what do you think about, I said, your candidate losing? Right. You know, I just, you know, I did it as a test, you know. I said, she said, no, that ain't my candidate. I said, okay. I said, well, did you vote? She said, no. She said, but a lot of her friends voted.
Wait. Come back. Start over. So you say you asked her what now?
So I asked her, what does she think about the results? And in particular, you know, her candidate losing, you know, which was Trump, right?
Oh, her candidate was Trump.
No, I just automatically assumed that because I was, you know, just having fun with her, you know. I got you. And so she said, no, he wasn't my candidate, you know. I said, did you vote? She said, nope. I said, well, what about the people in your generation? She said, a lot of them voted.
Right.
All right.
Right.
And I said, oh, really? I said, well, what were their views? Right. She said, well, some of them did not vote for him because they don't believe in racism. You know, they don't condone it. You know, they're not feeling it. You know, and they're part of a movement to teach and do the same thing that we're doing. And I said, oh, okay, these are the Indigo children, right?
You say what year was you born in?
The friend, no. So this is a period.
you ain't got to that point.
Yeah. Okay. So these are people in her generation, meaning, you know, she's somewhere in, you know, in her mid to early 20s. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, early 20s.
Yeah.
And
that's a whole different breed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they different. I love them, but they different.
But she said, but then I have some friends that voted for Trump. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, all right, so what was their reasoning for voting for Trump? Mm-hmm. And she said to me, because of capitalism. You know, they want to make money, and they felt that Trump was going to be more conducive to them making money than the Democratic Party.
Right.
I said, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said, really? I said, well, what about the racism part that's connected? You know, Trump used racist hints to encourage racism. If you vote for me, just like when he said to, you know, white supremacists that are participating in Nazism or Klan, he said to them, don't stand. He said, stand down, but stand by. Mm-hmm. You know, so that was like an encouragement. Yeah. You know, and let me explain something to you about this political thing. When the Democrats was in office, the black agenda did not get any better. Okay, so both parties, have not done, after 400 years of slavery, they have not created a mechanism of reparations or consideration for economic empowerment for black people. Neither one of the parties.
Yeah, let's not to cut you off, but let's go ahead and put this, this notion out here. We, a lot of us know this already, but the left wing and the right wing are part of the same bird. All right, let's understand that when you see Republicans versus Democrats, it is no different than watching WWE.
the wrestling.
Yes, you talking. There is a show and game of push and pull of power amongst them in front of you, but the game is orchestrated behind the scenes, and these people have to make sure that the drama persists in order to control the masses the way they want to do it. So with that being said, let everybody know that's just how we feel, on Straight Talk Radio. That is what we know about our political system as it stands right now. And then, all of this stuff is, is very easily researched. It's like, so at this point, you either choosing to, to believe the performance as literal, or you looking at this thing thoroughly. All right.
Okay, so let me ask you this question.
All right.
So that group of these indigo children, or what generation is this? 95? You're Generation X. They're in the Generation Z, right?
I would be Generation Y / millennials.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they were basically saying that we need to make money.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm gonna give another interesting perspective about that, about the whole thing, and very, very relevant to what you're saying. But go ahead.
No. So, I mean, because here you are, a black man,
Mm-hmm.
and you mentioned to me too that that you would be concerned about how we're going to survive. They were really concerned about survival. How we're going to eat, how we're going to buy our cars. I'm trying to delineate between them making money or because these were Caucasian kids, all right, or maintaining white supremacy. So I didn't see that their comments was about white supremacy. It was just about we have a better chance of making money under Trump's administration than we would under the Democratic. That was the piece. I couldn't go into, I couldn't interview one of those kids that she referred to.
Right.
So, like, you don't think you can make money and survive any other way? What I mean?
Well, so mind you, all right, so I'm gonna try to remember all the points I want to touch on here. So mind you, these are young kids born in the 90s. So mind you, they at the most they have, let's say, 6 to 7. If they're 25, mind you, they could only been working since they were 16, 17 years old. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. So they may have 8 years tops of work experience. To them, that sounds like a whole decade, but to me, it's like, I've been there, done that a couple of times. So, their experience thus far is, they ain't walked through the shadows of the valley of death yet. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. They haven't. It's a lot that they have not experienced. Now, as young Caucasian kids with their particular perspective, you got to remember what era they grew up in. So as far as racism goes, no, they don't have the same perspective as even kids born in the 80s have. Because I experienced racism when I was a kid from, other kids, from my own peers that were my age, right? So even racism that were instilled in kids in the 80s, in the 70s, whatever the case. These 90s kids, these millennial, and these 2000 babies, they didn't grow up with this. They grew up in smack dab in the middle of the hip hop era. Mm-hmm. They went to school with us. Remember, you saw this. They was busing us across busing us across town to go to schools that we were nowhere near in our zone. So we were going to. So at this point, so by the time 1990, 5, 6, 7, 8 hits, and from there on out, you've got a real integration going on here, right? Not just several like back in your day, it was like maybe 4 high schools tops in the whole city that integrated. Now the whole city of mid-sized cities and larger cities, they all integrating now. And so you got young Caucasian kids, they feel just as entitled to the hip hop era as we do, right? Because they grew up in it, they supported it, and so the point I'm getting at is they don't see racism the same way some of their older counterparts do, of their same racial demographic. They ain't looking at it like that, because because they done slept over our house, ate with us, if they went to school with us, they done partied with us, smoked weed with us, all of that stuff. We didn't, it's they have had a different experience, right? So their idea of it is they just want to see America be great from that perspective. They feel like they haven't experienced racism, so that's not at the forefront of their mind. They feel like we can all be kumbaya and just get along, and the past is not really relevant to them. Again, they can't conceive the past because they're only so many years old. they're not affected by it like some of the rest of us. Okay. They don't have a post-traumatic syndrome like some of the rest of us. They looking at this thing like, hey, we can all get along and just get this money in America. Now, so from their perspective, when they saying, so we can get this money.
Yeah, that's what it boiled down to.
Right, we can get this money. So now here's the interesting thing again. So when they're saying we can get this money, and they're associated with the Republican Party, right?
Right.
So what that means is a conservative view. Can I be accurate on that? Is that potentially what that is?
I don't think it's conservative. I think it's more of capitalism, because conservative is, we don't want to take on a lot of liberal policies. We don't think homosexual people, and when we talk about the Trump video and the Trump supporters, some of them was saying that they don't think a woman should be a president, or some of them are saying that they don't think that gay people should have equal rights. So, I'm trying to divide the conservative or capitalism.
Yeah.
What are these young minds saying? That they are willing to sacrifice principles?
Well, again, I think when they look at what has to be sacrificed versus what they believe they stand to gain, which is which is capital, basically. We have to hold them accountable as well, regardless of how old they are. This is their own rite of passage into adulthood. When you choosing, a particular path, you got to be accountable of everything that's on the path that you choosing. So when you say I'm gonna be a Republican, a young Caucasian Republican, and I want to vote for Trump for the sake of having access to capital, you have to understand that when you say that, it doesn't only come with access to capital. It comes with the ideologies of the entire regime. So when so we have to or not, no one's obligated to explain that to them. I mean, would it be courteous? Yeah, but we can say we can say to them, hey, listen, you voting for Trump. And I'm saying this from a particular perspective. I'm saying this objectively right now because, again, I'm going to get into another perspective, especially about black folks voting for Trump. But young Caucasian kids voting for Trump, we had to explain to them, like, listen, it ain't just about you being able to get this capital. What about X, Y, Z that also comes along with that? They got to make a choice right then and there to say, okay, am I willing to sacrifice the liberties of all for my capital gain? And if they say yeah, I mean, then now mind you, that's what you place folks in a particular category. You know what I mean? That's when you place folks in your own compartmentalization in your mind on how you gonna deal with them from then on out. On the other end, you got other Caucasian kids. To be honest with you, they confused at this point. They don't know what to do. Like the one you particularly interviewed. The one that didn't vote for nobody. She didn't vote for nobody because she don't know who to vote for. At this point, she's like, wait a minute. What are my interests at 23? What is it that I want out of America at 23 years old? I don't want to be racist. I would like to make some money because that's the culture in America. But I don't want to be racist though. You see what I'm saying? So, and then they like, I want to vote for I don't want to vote for Joe Biden either because he's got a rap sheet as well that I don't agree with. But these the only and then here's another kicker. So many people were like, don't vote for the other third parties because that's going to be a waste of vote. Right? That's going to be a waste of a vote. That's going to be splitting votes and we just need to get Trump out of here or we just need to stop Biden from getting in. That was the game they ran on that was the game they ran on everybody all the way down to that generation of kids. That generation was kids like, it just don't make no sense to vote for none of them. Meanwhile,
well, wait a minute now. There's another question that I asked this young lady. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, you didn't vote. Your friends voted. Some of them voted for Republican. Some of them voted for Democrat. I said, but listen, if I was to run for office for the president of the United States. And my platform was to create a system where your generation can participate in a fair and equitable alignment or in involvement in this capitalistic system, where we're going to set up systems for you guys to become leaders and all of that. I said, would you vote for me? And she stuttered and she hesitated. And she said, well, now she's seen me enough times, you know, because this is a place that I go in for business. And I've talked to her and demonstrated.
Yeah.
And she said, well, I have to see who you're going to be running against. You know, she didn't even patronize me to say, oh, yeah, I'll vote for you. She actually went into a critical thinking mode and say, well, it depends on who you're running against. So now what was that? Was it my black skin?
Yeah, that's interesting.
You know, because I'm saying to her, you know, I'm going to give your generation the equal and equitable opportunity and prosperity in America without you selling your soul, without you having to submit to this illusion of white supremacy.
Yeah. No, that's what that sounds like. I mean, it looks like she analyzed you not only by your message, but also by your appearance and demeanor as well.
Yeah.
That's what that looks like. So with that being said, I mean, you know, I guess we have to accept it. You know, the truth of the matter is politics in this country is based on very personal interest. It ain't necessarily about the greater good. It ain't about the good,
Absolutely.
The good of the whole. So with that being, I mean, that's where, Americans, I believe we understand that intrinsically, you know, like deep down in our souls, we know that. But I think we actually ashamed to admit that. To be honest with you, I think we're ashamed to admit that, you know, we are voting for personal interest. Now, mind you, I'm talking about, you know, it doesn't matter if your next door neighbor voted Democrat. You voted Democrat, but there would have been a division if his Democratic or liberal views differed from yours, right? Yeah. So anyway, so now let me get to another point too. So, you know, that young Caucasian kid, that young Caucasian girl, you know, she had her reasons, which are not very surprising. You know what I mean? That's not very surprising. Even though I know some young Caucasian kids her age got a totally different view. A totally different view from the friends that she was talking about. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's that generation is very interesting to watch. They, like I say, they different.
Well, but wait a minute now. Well, let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think now that I think about it, she had to be between 20 and 23 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you think that just like in that Chris Rock skit with him talking to this Caucasian man, and he said to the Caucasian man, he said, "I'm rich." He said, "You know, what would you rather have? To be rich like me or be Caucasian?"
Mm-hmm.
And the guy said, "Nah, I think I'm gonna stick with this Caucasian thing."
Right.
Okay. Also, when I was in Nashville, Tennessee, I had an attorney that was very successful. You know, 'cause I know he was successful because he charged me close to $15,000 to represent my corporation then.
Right.
And I said, let me ask you a question. I said, you're a successful attorney. You know, you're making it. You're doing. You know, I said, could you survive without this white person title? Without technically, I was saying white supremacy. And he looked at me and he said, I got to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think this young generation, they've already evaluated or concluded that this white supremacy thing is a security blanket for us and we need to work this thing because I don't think that, I can survive without it? Do you think that at this point that these kids have already come to that conclusion?
You want me to be honest?
Yeah. It's a straight talk morning show.
I'm gonna be honest. This is what I actually think about what I'm going to assume a lot of their perspectives are. We're talking about young 25-year-old and younger Caucasian kids. if they, can make the decision in their head that they would rather be, young Caucasian and middle class or be lower versus being rich and black. Because you know what? 'Cause a lot of people can look at the overall state of black people in America right now. I mean, to be honest with you, as mind you, as great as we are, one of our most underdeveloped attributes as a demographic of people is unity. We have a big problem with unity, and our problem with unity is our greatest downfall. So, and they know that because most other cultures know how essential unity is to the benefit and the stability of your demographic and or your nation. I mean, a nation of people. So they can look at how we've been operating over the last 50 to 60 years. Regardless of our trials and tribulations, there's never a point to where we should, whatever was thrown at us, and then we say, all right, so that's why our unity was broken up. It's like, nah, it's like, every time, every single time there's an onslaught against, there's a divide and conquer tactic against us, we have to reunite every single time. Like that's a basic survival tactic that you see in nature all the time. We don't have an excuse for not doing that. So anyway, saying all that to say this, other cultures can look at us and say, they have these amazing abilities and attributes. I mean, they have the ability to be intelligent. They have the ability to be, they have physical attributes that are off the charts. They can excel in any area, but it look like they only like to do that individually.
Absolutely. There's no unity.
Right. That's what every culture can look at us and say. So with that being said, right then and there, I mean, so if I was to look at another culture and say that about them and say I would rather be me than to be them, it's because I don't like the way they handle unity. Would I be racist? You see what I'm saying? Would I be racist for saying that? So again, I'm just a little bit. I don't care what nobody else says about black folk. That ain't because I can care less what anybody feels about us. All I care about is how do we handle us at this point. It's like, the most important opinion about us right now is our own opinion about us right now. So with that being said,
hold on. You don't think that their doubts is based on confidence? They don't have any confidence that we're going to do the right thing by them as a people. They don't have any confidence. They see that this white supremacy is still operating, and their cousins, parents, what have you, are still rolling with the cash because of from the benefits of white supremacy. They don't want to take a chance with black folks because they don't want to go out on a ladder and say, well, I'm gonna help these black people out, and then be ostracized from white supremacy. Could that be?
I mean, that's a big potential factor. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, because it can come in many ways, especially for potentially young Caucasian women in particular. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's a big possibility. That's a big old possibility. But at the same time, again, like I'm saying, man, I right now I see, and again, I'm shocked because I grew up, being able to observe racism without any rose-colored glasses on, So me watching it develop over the years, being 35 and watching it, like, okay, so I see some young ones, and they have a totally different perspective. Some of them they don't, some of them come from various backgrounds too. Some of them are, come from well-off families. They still get involved with people of color. They don't care. You see what I'm saying? And you have some that don't come from very well-off families. They get involved with people of color, and then you have the total opposite of both of those examples. So I mean, you got a spectrum of them, coming about. But again, is it important in other words, do we need Caucasian people to step in and be like, all right, so we're gonna help y'all out? Would it be nice? Yeah, sure, whatever, sure. I appreciate the ones that do. Genuinely. Without any ulterior motives, whatever the case. And I know some that help out genuinely. Yeah. But
now, so this is getting to where this racism is a threat to national security. All right, and this is why, because when when we look at the video that we watch about the Caucasian guy that went out and interviewed all the Trump supporters.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I think out of them 70 million people, that maybe 70% were the people that were, I'm going to use a number of 70%, were like the people that this young guy interviewed, all right? And so some of the questions that he asked different Trump supporters, like I said, one of them, it was a woman, she said, well, I'm supporting it because Ms. Harris or Senator Harris may have the potential of becoming the president. And this was a woman saying, I don't think that a woman should be the president.
Yeah.
And he asked her why. He said, well, women have hormones and they, that fluctuate, and they can start a war just like that, And so the guy said, well, most of the other wars were started by men, right?
All the other wars.
All of the other wars, So this was a woman, so these are different variations. And some of the people said, I'm supporting him from the facts that I got off of Facebook or social media. All of these different things. But what it all boils down to is that they were buying into white supremacy, because I'm going to vote for Trump because Trump used catchphrases that I'm going to support you, I'm going to protect you with law and order from the other cultures that want to come after your resources that you acquired through white supremacy. All right? Because because innately human beings understand karma is a reality, so they're always worried about. I know I didn't get this money on my own merit. I got it because I'm a white person, and but you're always in fear that we got it, through murdering, robbing, cheating, raping, lying, and stealing, and so other people can come back to us with that same thing. So we need policemen to protect us, So the threat to the national security is this: any con man, and this is the belief that Vladimir understood. I'm willing to bet you Vladimir read my book, The Second Coming, because I put it in the Russian embassy. I put it in 35 embassies in Washington D.C. back in 2000. All right,
I got you.
And so if I was a foreign country, I know that you have a whole block of people, a voting block of people, half of this country are willing to vote for preserving a special class citizenship based on your skin color. I'm going I can conquer this country. And they're coming up with ideals of how I'm going to divide and conquer this country based on division. That's a threat to national security.
Well, if that's the case, then we've had a threat to national security in this nation since the inception of the corporation of the United States of America, if that's the case, because that's what it was built on. That was the foundation of it all. So, as long as, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, so black people, we got to think too. We got to think about this. I mean, do we want to end white supremacy, or do we just want to practice it and be the winner in it, or at least have a better position in it? That's our question.
All right. Well, let me answer that after. I got to do a quick commercial break.
Okay.
All right. Because when we come back, I'm going to deal with the other 30% that voted for Trump. Okay. But also, this show is being sponsored by Blue Skies Insurance, and Chris Asafa is the chief executive of Blue Skies Insurance. She for all people that needs health insurance, and especially the people in my generation, the ones that are now in retirement mode, you got to make a decision on which plan is the best plan for you. And so give Chris a call at 813-766-4474 for two reasons, or three reasons. One, she's a black woman. Two, she's a nerd. She likes reading all of the stuff that we don't want to read, and she's paying personal attention to all the people that sign up under her agency. So she's just an agent. She works with all of the insurance carriers. So she's not representing just one insurance carrier. She will, excuse me, analyze your personal health situation. Whether you 65 or older, or 59, 55 or whatever the case, and make some recommendations. If you don't have insurance, I just told my son, you need to give Chris a call, because there are programs that you qualify in the insurance industry, and you need to go that direction, because you might have some health issues, and you need to get into need to know which programs are more conducive to you and your financing right now. Right. Yeah. So we the other reason is she's a black woman, and I'm urging first and foremost all black people to do business with her, because there is an insurance industry in development that's going to hire your children. I'm encouraging Caucasian people to vote for it, because to use her, because this is going to create the momentum. I was talking with a group in Atlanta yesterday. They want to get involved with people like Chris, and they're going to build an international insurance agency. And that insurance agency, one of the principles will be, and I hope I'm not cutting my throat with this, is that there are natural remedies that you can heal you. Okay? The current insurance industry only want to pay for pharmaceutical treatments.
Exactly.
Okay, and then what I do have to give them credit, they're starting to lack some of those rules, and they're making it where you can go to the gym, and they pay for that. Now that's an encouraging thing, but it also needs to be to expand, where you can get natural remedies and pay for those without having to be in the fraternity of the AMA or the pharmaceutical drug industry.
Right.
And then that can help us start getting into more natural cures. So my Caucasian people, sign up with Chris. She knows what she's doing. She knows the business. And especially my black folks, the dollar bill only stays in our neighborhood 6 hours. So when you invest in a black business, that keeps recirculating the money. The business expand, they're going to hire your children. Stop telling children to go work for the other cultures that have bought into the white supremacy, program. So Caucasian people do it, because this is the future. You're dying from cancer. You're dying from all of these diseases as well. Invest in black folks that's going to change that paradigm. Also, this COVID virus was stimulated by white supremacy. I don't care how you cut it. If the bottom line is white supremacy, understand, and let me clear something here. White supremacy is not only practiced by Caucasian people. It's practiced by black people, Asian people, all over the world. It's a very defective program. It's an evil program. And we, as a human species, we got to get away from this. So we got to start investing in organizations that's writing in their constitution or their narrative, we're going to make a change on this planet. Because I went into one of these offices, and a young Caucasian woman, she just lost her mother at 60 years old, from cancer. And I was heartbroken for her. And she said, the insurance industry made millions off my mother, and then she died. So they do all those experiments. So there are natural treatments that we need to start moving in that direction. So that's why, boy, that's the best commercial ever for Chris, right?
Sure, you're right, man.
Give her a call. Give her a call, 813-766-4474. Now, we're getting close to our 1 hour time limit.
We got about. Well, I'd say, I don't know, maybe 10 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, but the beauty of this is we can go over now because we
can go as long as
we can go as long, but we're going to try to keep it within an hour so that people won't get bored and that sort of thing. All right, so we were going to come back to. We were talking about the threat to national security. We were talking about the videos. Okay.
Yeah, we were talking about the threat to national security. I think I remember where we were.
So those Caucasian people, what would you think? The video that you watched, what was your assessment of that video?
I mean, I'm not going to spend too much time on them. I mean, so basically what you saw is a lot of Caucasian people, Trump supporters, who probably from rural areas in their states. I'm gonna be straightforward. They weren't the brightest people. Obviously, they weren't the very brightest people in the world. What I'll do is I will re-upload that video to our Straight Talk page, and I mean it's meant to be satirical to some extent. It was done by a journalist and or I don't know if he has his own show or not. Some guy named Jordan Kepler. Some of y'all might know who he is. My first time ever seeing him. He did really good. He just interviewed a whole bunch of Trump supporters and just asked them some very basic questions, almost just to gauge their IQ levels on why it is that they voting for Trump. And he got some very peculiar answers, some crazy answers out of them. Now, we understand what's going on when we take a look at Trump rallies and who's attending and whatnot. It's a very obvious and expected demographic that's showing up to his rallies now. But here's one thing that I did want to get into: the question about why so many black people were considering voting Republican, even with Trump in office this election around. That's what's even more interesting, because what happened is, now mind you had a lot of black women who, there were many more black women who were going to vote they were going to vote blue, they were going to vote left, Democratic this time around. For one, mainly what it looked like is because, there was a woman of color who was going to be in the vice presidential seat. And that was a symbolic win for them. And I understand it. I respect it. You know what I mean? That was one of the main reasons. The other reason was, and I can really respect this one, that, Trump had riled up, white supremacists across the country. And we were seeing the attack of various Caucasian people, police and whatever, on our children and on our people. And I can understand, from a black woman's perspective, just being a woman and having a innate desire to protect the people in our nation, whether they are children or not. So I can understand that. Now, on the other end, you had some black folks that was voting for Trump. They were very, very, very they were really, really willing, what I'm saying, to at least consider what was it that we can talk to the Republican administration about as far as what we're going to be able to gain by providing our vote, right? So one of the main things was just that. One of the main things was something that we mentioned earlier, which was economics. That was the primary thing. Black folks wanted to vote for Trump for the same reason the young Caucasian boys that you were talking about earlier wanted to vote for Trump.
For the money.
For the money.
Okay.
You see what I'm
saying? So that's the problem here. Okay, so without a doubt, in my 68 years on this planet, and working with banks, working with writing business plans, this economic system was not designed as a pure economic system. It was built on the foundation of white supremacy. I promise you, it's not a prejudice. It's based on my real lifetime experiences. I saw a major pie company sabotage my family's pie business. I saw the Dixie Mafia come in and take my a program I had in Nashville, Tennessee, because they decided that they were going to shut down all black business owners in that area, and they were coming after them. And if you were not a primary black that subscribed to white supremacy, they were taking your business. So I've seen it, and I know there are thousands of other stories out there about it. And so you have to understand, that this economic system, you have black folks that think that they have mastered the system. Mm-hmm. And they know how to play the game. We talked about this last week. And so they may have an in, or in the case where I saw the interview with 50 Cent talking about Lil Wayne, that the Trump administration was offering them upwards from $100,000 to $500,000 to support the Trump campaign, for cash, so that they can get some black voters, to support him. Mm-hmm. And 50 Cent claimed he didn't take the money, but he indicated that Lil Wayne took the money, And so it's that economic piece, all of that, the capitalism, this whole capitalistic system is based on white supremacy. And you got these black folks that saying, okay, I done mastered this game. I don't even know. I don't think I can adjust to working in a fair and equitable business environment without, playing the game of white supremacy.
Well, there is a difference between, there can be a difference. We'd have to make it a difference. There can be a difference between operating in commerce and operating in this country's economic system, under a white supremacist umbrella, right? So, and the difference is this. The commerce game in this country is what it is. I mean, right now, and I'm saying this almost as a devil's advocate right now. Right now, the way the game is rigged to be played, black people could play it collectively, if in unity, and make a dent. But the question is, the question is, will we do it because we have to remain in unity? Again, I a lot of the times, I ask our people, very basic questions revolving unity. I ask them all the time, like, would you want to live in a neighborhood that was it was owned by and occupied by us? And I get some very peculiar answers to those questions. And I'm just like, so wait a minute. So I'm just trying to figure out, what does unity look like to you? So apparently this is what unity looked like to a lot of black people. They want to operate in this economic system comfortably enough to where they can go back to their little home, wherever that may be. And, in other words, they have no interest in it being in close proximity to another black person who thinks the same way they do. I haven't heard a lot of that. I haven't heard a lot of black people be like, yeah, I would much rather live in a neighborhood to where, there's black people practicing group economics, and I can get in on that. I mean, there's one thing I have not heard it, from some of our own people. But I'm talking about when I ask the question to try to draw out the answer. The responses are peculiar. I get a lot of blank stares and a lot of grinding wheels, and I'm just like, wait a minute, like, what kind of unity are we talking about then, right? So, when we're talking about operating in commerce in this country, the unity it takes, and we see it all the time. Every other culture is doing it. If we're talking about Caucasian people, that is the primary agenda behind gentrification. They want to move you out so they can move in and be there by themselves. That's what it's about, right? If you see the Hispanic community does it, the Indian community does it. I've been in one of their communities before. It'd be nice too. I mean, if there's anybody that we should mimic,
or you see what I'm saying? At least in the first few stages, that's who it is, because they live nice in their own communities. Right, I'm talking about like $500,000 homes where it'd be two or three families in there, but they sitting real comfortable.
Well, they preserve their culture.
Exactly.
You know,
so
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, but they're preserving their culture, and they feel that they have more confidence in their culture. And that means that their unity will give them stabilization, where black folks are just scattered, and we're standing around saying, "Well, can we get involved with your culture too?" So that's exactly the biggest problem. But bringing this all of these different topics together, and I want to specifically deal with how the religions should take a little blame, not a little, but take blame with the weaknesses, with the selfishness behind these different cultures, by jeopardizing the planet, jeopardizing the children's future of having a pure spiritual development. All of that's being jeopardized because of these segmented or separate agendas of various cultures. And, you know, and so before I go into the religious, how the religious companies should take certain blame, and it's tied into what the rapture is all about. I want to say this again. You know, we work with Urban Progress Alliance, and we need you to go to UPAALL.com. We need you to sign up and sign a petition that we have online. You go to the donate page, sign into the petition saying, yes, you're interested in working with an organization like ours that's about change, and we're going to take these numbers and we're going to go to the mayor's office with them. We're going to city council. We're going to the governor's office. We are aligning ourselves with a national organization that's going to be going to the White House. But these people want to see the numbers. If you don't have money to donate to UPA, because it takes money to put these shows on, it takes money to pay our fees and to be operational, to have our website, to even get in a car and drive to Tallahassee. It takes money. So if you cannot make a $5 or $10 donation, at least sign up and say, yes, I don't have any money right now, but I do believe that this type of organization, that this type of narrative is going to represent us. It's going to represent us in the city of Tampa or any other city in the United States. It's going to represent us in the state, in the Capitol housing. It's going to represent us in Washington, D.C., so that when even with Biden and the Vice President Harris, if they get in office, they're going to still follow the scenario, because when Obama, black people still don't believe that Obama did a lot. He did good with the insurance, but nobody addressed the issue on how this black issue on reparations, how are we going to stabilize and stop all the other cultures from basically eliminate the existence of black people, the ones who this country was built on their backs. Now all of a sudden, okay, we don't use you up and we don't need you anymore. So, bringing all this into perspective of religions, you can go to, you can call Brenda, the president, at 813-324-0915. That's the UPA office number, and get involved with this. If you're not clear on what we're saying in our message that we're trying to get out to you, you can ask her some specific questions. She'll shoot the questions to me. We'll get back with you. We'll send you an email. We'll call you on the telephone. But this paradigm shift is going to happen. And there's two ways it's going to happen. My favorite line, from the Most High. We can do this the easy way or the real easy way. That was in that Dragon movie that, I forget the guy's name that played in it. Ring of Fire. He said we can do this the easy way or the real easy way.
Was that Matthew McConaughey?
Yeah, because you got a supreme being, guardians, angels, whatever you want to call them. They're sitting in the wings. And if we don't start bringing this country or this planet together with a balanced equation of politics, religion, or spirituality, I don't want to say religion, and preservation of this planet, we will be exterminated. Not just black people, who the agenda is focusing on right now, all humans. And so if you see it if you don't think this pandemic or plandemic is a warning of it is not picking out just black people. Don't believe the hype about only black folks are getting this disease. It does not discriminate. And it was done by white supremacy because it's for all of these businesses that are going, all these people that are going out of business, they're being forced to have to regroup, and it's going to exhaust their nest egg, but they're being forced to reclaim or commit to white supremacy all over again, to a whole new monetary system, because that's the way the program is designed. It's to take you to the brink unless we stand up and say, no, we're not going to be bankrupt because of this pandemic. We're going to pool our resources as a species and come up with a plan of how we're all going to rise up as a swell. Mm-hmm. So go to UPAALL.com, sign up. If you don't have, donate money. If you don't have any money, at least say, I like what they're saying. I want to be a part of this agenda, to be involved in a situation where I don't have to sell my soul. Because I promise you, all of those businesses that are going out of business, the only way they're going to be able to go back into business, they're going to have to make a pledge to the dark side of the evil of white supremacy to be able to participate in the rebuilding. This pandemic is going to only last 2 years. The one in the 1900s and one for that, they usually only last 2 years. We got to go through those steps, and then we got to reboot all of our ideals. So go to UPAALL.com. Get involved with a movement, not for your selfish agenda. I don't think I can make it because of the color of my skin. No, we're going to have to make it as a group, as the human race. All right? So let's talk about, before we're in overtime, and we're gonna wrap it up. The religious institutions should take some of the blame of people not understanding the consequences of their actions. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right. And so how does the religious institutions, once again, I talked about this earlier, is that a lot of humans believe that this is their only life, and as long as they go to church, pay their tithes, and work 40 hours a week, pay their mortgage, and pay their car note, and put some money aside to send their children to college, that's going to get them into heaven. That's a horrible disservice and illusion. The universe has a recycling system, and it has a enforcer, which is called karma. What you do or don't do in this lifetime towards the evolution of this planet and this species, you will be put back in this grade. So basically what I'm saying is, all the hell and trials and tribulations you went through in this life, can you imagine that, okay, you failed because of your own selfishness or your own selfish agenda, and you got to do this life over again and come to the same conclusion where, should I do this for me or should I do this for the benefit of mankind? That is what karma is about. That is what reincarnation, the universe recycles your soul until it purifies itself through many life experiences. And I got this from the Guardians, and when I try to qualify myself as to my purpose, I don't want to repeat this life over again. And believe me, I've had a decent life in comparison to a lot of my friends. But I don't want to have to come back and go through all of the hell and trials and tribulations that I went through in this life, because it was okay, but I don't want to repeat it. So what I'm doing now, even at this point in my life, is making an impact on humanity, making an impact so that our children, my son, his children, will have a better chance at. Now we need to put focus on cleaning up the planet. We got ozone problems, we got global warming, we got contamination in the ocean. All of that stuff is getting ready to come bite us back in the butt, all because of selfish, unpure capitalism, greed. And that's where the religious institutions failed us. Because if you go back and study the Catholic Church, They took reincarnation out of their documents in 553 AD because they understood that human beings would be self-corrected if they understood that if I go out and murder somebody, put a car bomb in somebody's car, in the next life, if I knew that in the next life I'm going to come back and that's the same thing's going to happen to me over and over again until I understand the devastation to that individual, to his children, to his relatives, I would be apprehensive doing that. Raping a woman, stealing from everything that you do negative is going to come back on you, if not once, 10 times. The religious institutions are not explaining that to you. And the Guardians gave it to me and said, tell them this. Let them understand that what goes around comes around. They didn't put these phrases out there for nothing. They have some significance to your spiritual evolution. So stop hooking and crooking. Stop trying to get by a slide being through greed or raping or murdering or lying to people so that you can eat more or drive a shinier car. We got to wake up, people. The whole human species got to wake up. And black folks, you have been last for a very long time, and the laws of karma means the first shall be last and last shall be first. The burden is on you to give that little girl, Caucasian girl that I talked to, don't have the confidence in you, black people, that they think that you are going to retaliate for what has been done to you. No, we're not. No, we're not. We're going to build a fair, equitable institution, and we're going to have to take the lead and show and give the Hispanics and Caucasians and all the other races the confidence that we're going to do this in a fair and equitable way. Is that a mouthful or what?
Yeah.
Can you close on that?
So we closing out. All right. So yeah, it is 18 minutes past the hour. Touch a little bit on what you said. I agree with you. You know, we're going to follow the laws of the universe as we operate. We're going to follow the laws of Ma'at. That's what I'm gonna say, right? What I'm not going to say is, you know, we're not going to practice self-preservation. I want to give my people that confidence that, you know, we're not expecting to do the same thing over and over and over again and expect different results, which is
definition for insanity.
That is a definition of insanity. But, you know, in real time, you know, as an actual, you know, example, if, you know, there are forces, physical forces, in other words, other people who are, you know, coming at our community, attacking our community, trying to take from our community, you know, we have to respond accordingly. We have to respond according to self-preservation. That's what I'm going to say. Now, I think members of any other culture, any other demographic, any other community, they know that and respect that we can rock with you all day long. We can rock with you if you know that and understand that and respect that. All right. But what we, you know, so with that being said, the other cultures that work with us, working, you know, in tandem with us, in partnership with us. When me and Pops are throwing out ideas and ideologies of black folks working together, when we hint to examples of us living in our own communities and such. Now, mind you, you know, I'm not trying to qualify that I need to explain this to anybody, but I'm just gonna put it out here for everybody, and especially our own community. When we say we want to, you know, work with ourselves, mind you, it's been a long time coming in this country, and we faced so many things that were designed to, you know, cause division amongst us, which stagnates the development of any organism on this planet. And I'm making some hints to what you said, Miss Brenda, in the chat. I saw that and I completely agree with you. We have had a lot of things. There's been centuries of an onslaught against our community, but at this point, We just have to recognize that, and just be prepared that let's not expect, anybody to stop being them against us. If they've been showing us who they are all of this time, then at this point that we're going to have to expect that that's what they are and that's what they do, and we have to respond accordingly. Now, that means circling your wagons. So, again, any other cultures, any other demographics that understand or even interested in knowing what it is that black folks done been through in this country, you can easily ask. You can ask me or Pops. We got a whole, and if I don't know, I know some scholars and some historians that do know. We can learn you something as to why we are in this particular situation that we're in. Either way, going back to what you're saying, Pops, absolutely. Regardless of what has happened to us, do we have to follow the laws of the universe? Absolutely, and we will do such. Absolutely, we will. We are going to excel and advance, following the laws of following the laws of the universe, and to speak everybody else's language. And if you do practice a particular religion, we will follow the laws of God. That's what we're going to do. No, we're not going to advance by hook or crook. No, we're not going to be able to do that. We know we're not going to be able to do that, so we're not going to do that. But we will practice love, and we will also practice self-preservation as we move forward.
Oh, so don't forget, we are going to YouTube, and we will be broadcasting. But we're going to be posting this video on YouTube, and we need you to go to YouTube and like. And what all they need to
like
do?
And subscribe. So y'all know what time it is, fam. So what we're going to do is we're going to post the links, because we just started the YouTube page. We got to upload some stuff, in other words, to get it rolling. But when we start posting the links to go visit our YouTube page, like and subscribe, we will really, really, really appreciate it if you do that. Also, share this video on Facebook. When you get a chance to go on the YouTube page, like, subscribe, share, support, please.
Absolutely. All right. So we are now 1 hour and I think I saw 15 minutes. But anyway, we're wrapping it up. We have some upcoming guests that's going to be coming on the show in our new studio, and we're setting things up where you'll be able to call in, you'll be able to zoom in and give us your ideas on the show, give us your ideas on how we're going to bring black folks together, Hispanic folks together, Caucasian people that are trying to erase all of that bad karma from their ancestors. It can be done, but you got to do it as a collective. You got to do it unselfishly. So make sure you go to and like and share and do all those things on YouTube, Facebook. Those numbers help us. Go to upaall.com. Sign in our petition. All we're doing is going to the government who you pay taxes to your employees, these are your government employees, and we're indicating to them we need a change in the system because as you can see, the COVID virus is a residual of white supremacy of a contaminated capitalistic system. Hey, this has been the Straight Talk Morning Show, and it's been my pleasure to come to you and hopefully encourage you, enlighten you to understanding what we're going to do to help you and your children evolve. Thank you very much.